It's probably no surprise to you that over or about 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And what might be a surprise to you is that a lot of these people, about 40% of these people that are living paycheck to paycheck, actually make six-figure salaries. They make $100,000 or even more sometimes. Sometimes making enough money can be the problem, but a lot of times it's because of poor money management, or it could be both. And 61% of Americans don't have $1,000 for an emergency expense. So if something happens, like their car breaks down and they have to pay $1,000, or something in their house breaks down and they have to pay $1,000, they wouldn't have it. They would have to finance it through a credit card. Hi, my name is Pascal Mangate and you're watching the Financial Ownership Podcast. The most important thing when you have money consistently coming in isn't about how much money you make, it's about what you do with the money that you make. I was reading something online and it said the average car payment currently is about $563. So yes, you do need a car to go to work and all these type of things, but do you need a luxury car? Not really. But if you have no savings, you haven't had any investments at all, or you don't have any income outside of your job, really you don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to continuously pay a $563 car payment. You really don't have to pay that much for a car payment. It's because people aren't prioritizing investing, even though it should be a priority and should be one of the top priorities people should have right now, especially with the situations today. Even though more and more people are starting to put their money in the financial markets, about half of the Americans today don't currently put any of their money in any type of stock market related assets. And the thing is, even that statistic right there, it doesn't tell you the full story, because if you think about it, there's a big difference between investing and speculating. So speculating is you put all of your or a big lump sum money into GameStop or some type of high speculative stock, and you're hoping that you're gonna get rich in the next month or 2 or 3 or something like that. Investing is when you continuously put money into funds like stocks, or funds you believe in, real estate, or businesses you believe in, and you're looking to have a long-term growth of those things that you're consistently putting money in over time. That is what investing actually is. The other version is just speculating, where you just do it one time. Yes, you are never guaranteed to get a rate of return on your money, but one thing is for sure is that you're for sure not going to get a rate of return on your money with the savings rates of banks or the interest rates that they give you in banks currently. And it's much better to take a calculated risk that makes sense to hopefully get a return that beats inflation and taxes. Even if you get 5 or 6%, that's much better than just letting your money get eaten alive by inflation and taxes, which are increasing currently in the environment that we're in, or currently in the economic environment that we're in. If inflation being on the rise, right now with it being over 5% currently, it's almost gotten to the point where it became mandatory and you have to invest to reach your financial goals, or it's just not going to be possible. I get the idea of investing in the stock market for 30, 40 years isn't necessarily admirable for people. Even for me, that's not something that I just want to do, is just wait for 30, 40 years to invest into the stock market and wait to retire eventually. But if that's not admirable to you and you want to do something else, maybe you have to think about doing things like developing a high income skill, either through more education in school or just learning something else that could actually pay you a higher income, so you can invest more into things like stocks, real estate, and other asset classes to eventually get to the point where you could either not have to depend on a job or anything like that, and you can depend more on your investments for income. Or learn about business and maybe take a risk in learning what you're trying to do and build something over time that eventually can give you a much higher income if you're looking to shorten that gap to maybe 5 to 10 years. But if you don't do either one of these two things, either invest in the long term, whether it's in the stock market or something that you believe in, or some type of business or real estate that you believe in for the next 30 years, or you decide to get a higher income skill where you could put more money aside in a shorter period of time, and maybe you get to that point where you're financially independent in the next 5 to 10 years, because most people are in the position where they aren't inheriting a lot of wealth or anything like that. And if you look at the statistics for millionaires, the average millionaire only makes about $77,000 a year, and they basically went the route of they're going to invest basically for 20, 30 years to get to that point. But at the end of the day, you have to decide which one you want to do. most people aren't just inherited a lot of money. And if you think about it, the people that I'm talking about, or most people that are millionaires, they are self-made. Like about 80% of them, they weren't inherited the wealth. So you're gonna have to decide to do one or the other. But one of the few things you could do currently to make sure you get to the point where you're at least taking the right direction into getting financially ahead is that most Americans, they're spending, for every $1 they spend $1.25 because they finance things and things like credit cards and debt and all these type of things, and they can't really afford what they're buying. So really what you want to do is flip that. For every dollar that you spend, you want to make sure you're saving or investing 25 cents for every single dollar that you spend. So you spend 75 and you either save or invest 25. And you ultimately want to get to the point where you have a decent amount of savings and you could just basically invest that entire 25%. At the end of the day, saving isn't going to get you rich, especially with the bank rate today. If you found some value in this video, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I always talk about topics like personal finance and investing. If you have any questions to ask me, go ahead and feel free to reach out to me. In the description below, there's a link to my website. Feel free to contact me there, send me an email, or contact me there, and I'll respond to you. Or you can just ask me a question in the comments below. Thank you.